Hey, Dr.
Hey,
B, how you doing?
hey, I'm great and I'm so happy because I was thinking, okay, we're gonna keep time, like match our time zones, but we did. That was
Yes,
perfect.
everything's wonderful. It's awesome to be here with you.
I'm so glad to meet you, Harry. Terry, I even said Harry. I'm sorry. I think it's, with the Queen's funeral and everything, Harry's name has been on. So I'm like, Harry, no, not Harry, Terry.
Terry.
Yes, I'm so glad to finally meet you. And I want to just read your intro um, that I got. Okay, so I'm just introducing you to the audience so that they know Terry. So Terry is a professional speaker and author of How Can I Get Myself to Do What I Need to Do? And the second book, Get the Power to Change Your Life. He has spoken to over 300,000 people in 11 countries, specializing in helping people to become secure individuals, develop strong relationships, and create loving families. That is beautiful. All the things that we need as human beings, you got them covered.
That, that's my mission.
So, Terry, I'm so glad we get to speak. And what I noticed with your content, you're a great storyteller. You speak with passion. So I believe you when you say you're an international speaker and you've been at least 11 countries and they keep calling you back because you just express yourself so well.
Well, the only thing that I ever talk about are my personal experiences. That's where the passion comes from. If I haven't
Yeah,
experienced it, I'm not going to talk about it.
makes a lot of sense. So you bring the human factor into everything that you're talking about. And that's what makes it so humane. Because you sound so sincere. Because I check all your posts on Insta and you're so passionate. It's like, okay, you're always on fire. But like you're saying, you're sharing your personal experience. So you're talking about something that you know, something that you've been through.
Yeah,
And
when
it's so
people say,
relatable. Yeah.
when people say to me, how come you're so passionate? I said, what do you mean? I lived it. I can feel the pain right now. If I remember,
Yeah.
that's where it comes out. How can I just calmly just talk to you about something that's caused me pain or given
Yeah.
me joy in the past? That's where the passion comes from.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So today's topic, there are no secure jobs or businesses. There are only secure people. What do you mean?
Well, here's the bottom line. My mission is basically to do three things. Number one is to empower individuals to become better human beings, to develop their character better, and to become more secure, because they're going to realize that there is no such thing as a secure job or business. Their security comes from within themselves, because outside everything keeps changing. And if your security relies on everything that's out there, when it changes, then you're either going to feel great or you're going to feel terrible. So
Absolutely.
you should not rely on what's outside to give you the peace and the security inside of you. So that's my number one mission, is to help people to achieve that status of becoming a secure person. The second thing is to strengthen relationships. The reason why is because at the end of our lives, we're all going to come to the same conclusion. My whole life was all about the relationships that I built. I didn't even realize until my deathbed how important those relationships were. So I'm trying to teach people that whatever success you want to accomplish, it's sitting at the top of a triangle. So if you have a pyramid, and right at the top is all the success that you want to create, you want to build, but that underneath is the foundation that it's all sitting on. And that foundation is how you lived your life, or all the relationships that you built. Because if you achieve the success that you want to achieve, and it's at the top of the pyramid, but you didn't live your life the right way, the foundation's going to crumble, and then your success will collapse. It will not maintain itself.
Mm,
And even though you have success in one particular area of your life, you may not feel like a success if you don't have the relationships in place. And the third thing is to create loving families. Because people always think, you know, how do I change the world? Well, if you want to change the world, you have to change the hearts of the people of the world. But the question is, where do people come from? The manufacturing plant of people is the family. That's where they're made. So you have either good people or bad people. They're made in the family. The family is the school of love. The family is what teaches the new little children how to receive love and how to give love. And so if you want to change the world, you create a loving family with children that you've poured love into, so that when those children grow up, they show respect and kindness and love to other people. That's how you change the world. You don't change the world by destroying what you have and just going out trying to fix everybody else's problem. Look within, look at yourself. And so when you said to me, you know, how does a person become secure? There are 4 characteristics of a secure person.
Okay.
The number one characteristic is a secure person has an extremely high level of confidence. That's number 1. But
Okay.
their confidence doesn't come from arrogance. It's not like, oh, I know everything. No, the secure person has extremely high level of confidence because they understand how to achieve things. The way that they achieve things is through failure. The secure person knows that every time they attempt to do something, they expect to fail the first time they do it. They expect to fail. They don't expect to succeed. They know they're going to fail, but they're going to fail over and over and over again, numbers of times, until eventually they make it. But the problem is the insecure person, they don't think like that. The insecure person thinks, you know, when I tried this, I'm going to succeed right away. As soon as they fail, they get hit emotionally and they are devastated because they didn't realize that they were going to fail. Whereas the secure person, their attitude is, I knew I was going to fail in that, but it's okay. I'll just do it another 50 times. I'll just do it another 100 times. So their confidence comes from this process that I call the Victory Valley experience. I'm going to talk about that in a second, because that philosophy of Victory Valley, that philosophy is how you build your confidence. That is the greatest thing I discovered in my whole life, the Victory Valley experience. So please remind me to talk about that. So that's the first thing. The secure person has a high level of confidence because they know and they expect to fail. Number 2, they're competent. They know what they're doing. But the problem is, when you see a secure person who is competent at what they do, everybody thinks, oh, they were born like that. No, that's not right. They weren't born like that. They put in years of hard work and dedication and sacrifice to get themselves to that point that makes it look to everybody else that they're natural.
Yeah.
Like, you may be thinking, you know, oh, I have a lot of confidence. I'm speaking here in front of you. I couldn't even, when I was a kid, I would go on a bus and I couldn't even raise my head to look to see where I'm going to find my seat. My head was like this because I was so embarrassed. I couldn't look at people in their eyes because I'm thinking, I'm on this bus now. Everybody's looking at me. So that's not me today. So
No.
but I grew because I understood. I learned how to become more confident. So the competency, the secure person knows that there are a certain number of hours of dedication and sacrifice that they have to put into something in order to master that skill. And so the way that they say to themselves, when am I going to make it? When am I going to succeed? Is they have a certain number of hours of dedication. I give you a perfect example. Like on this sheet right here, you'll see a whole bunch of numbers. And I'll tell you what this is. A little while ago, about a year or 2 years ago, I decided I want to learn Spanish. I want to learn to speak Spanish, right? So I thought to myself, okay, what does a secure person do in order to set a goal? Okay, well, they put a number of hours. So I put in 500. I wrote the number 500 at the top of this sheet. And in my head, I'm thinking, okay, all I got to do is put my 500 hours in. And when I get to the 0, I should be able to at least have enough confidence to say hello in Spanish. You know what I'm saying? Right? So I wrote 500 at the top. And then every time I studied for 1 hour, I would take that 500, cross it out. I would put 499. Then I put another hour next day, 498. And I would put the date next to the numbers. And guess what? Right now, I'm sitting at 117 hours.
Wow.
So all I do is I got to get that 117 to 0. Until then, I'm not expecting to become Mr. Espanol. I mean, it's like I'm just putting work in, right? So it's competency. So that's the second thing. The third thing is a secure person understands compassion.
Okay.
They're compassionate for a very important reason. The secure person knows that when they get on their knees and they pray to God and they ask God to help them, God is not going to come and do their work for them. So how does God help us? What I realize, that the secure person realizes, God's responsibility is to send the right people into our lives. He creates the environment. 95% of the work is his work. He creates the environment, sends the right people into our circle around us. So what is that 5% human portion of responsibility? That's our portion of responsibility. That is to respect and show kindness to other people. Those people that God sends into our path, we now have to attract those people to us. And so if we show kindness and respect to those people, we don't know who they are. They come into our lives. But guess what? They bring the very thing that we need with them when we attract them into our life. That's how God helps us. So if we are not compassionate, if we don't show respect and kindness, we reject those people. And God's thinking, I sent you the right person. You're just not kind enough. You're just not showing any respect. Pull them in because they got the answers.
Yeah.
That's the compassion. And the fourth thing, the secure person operates from a sense of inner peace. Now, what I mean by that is this. A lot of the people I have met, they're ambitious. They've got dreams of things that they want to accomplish. It's in their heart. Their dream is burning in their heart. But the question you have to ask yourself is this. Inside your heart, you may have your dream, but what is next to your dream in your heart? If you have guilt in your heart, you have this powerful dream, but you have guilt. Guilt coming from the fact that you're not paying attention to the different areas of your life. You're not spending any time with your kids. You're not spending any time with your wife. You're not spending any time in prayer, building a relationship. You're not spending any time, at your work. You're not spending time in different areas of your life or on your health. All you're doing is focus on your dream. But what happens is you chase your passion to accomplish that dream. But then the guilt stops you because you're thinking, you know what, I can't run like this because I'm neglecting my kids. I'm neglecting my health. So then what happens is the guilt stops you because you got to come. It pulls you back to try to fix those areas of your life that you weren't paying attention to. And then you spend more time fixing those areas, but now you feel even more guilt because you're not chasing your dream. So then you go back again to chase your dream.
Roller coaster now.
And you're going back and forth like a pendulum. And what the secure person does is they realize I need to operate from a sense of peace. So what I have to do is I have to make sure I look after all the different areas of my life. Pay attention to all the different areas of my life so that they're all slowly growing so that I have no guilt. I have total peace in my heart to be able to chase my passion with everything I got because guilt doesn't play anymore. I have peace in my heart.
Yeah.
That is how a secure person operates. Those are the 4 characteristics of a secure person.
Wow. That's amazing. Before I ask you about the Victory Valley experience,
Yeah.
I just want to comment on I mean, the characteristic you're speaking about of a secure person, because that question is important when we're discussing this, that, okay, you're saying there are no secure jobs, no secure businesses, but there's only secure people in a very unpredictable, very unsecure, very volatile environment. Externally, we do not have control. But from what you're saying, when we have internal control, our locus of control is internal, then we can basically control our external experiences. And then from the confidence, consistent with all the things that you mentioned, from the confidence, the competence, the compassion, and the inner peace, especially the first three, there's the consistency of being practical. There's practicality. So it's not a fantasy type of thing that, oh, I want that, I like it. But you never internalize, what do I need to do for me to get to that? Because I think most of us become so frustrated, and we give up, and we start doing things we're not supposed to do, taking shortcuts, because we were never practical from the start. We never embraced the idea that God says faith and work, and he says one without the other is futile. So we are being sold the idea of this great success, quick success. You can get it now. And then we go in, then you don't get the results. Then you get ideas now, like, how can I quickly get there? Because it's either no one has ever told you, obviously, you don't know, that there's no other way. Every person that you see that has what you want, or that is living the life you want. And I love the way that you added inner peace, because sometimes I can see somebody on social media posting beautiful pictures. They have the cars, they're traveling to the holiday destinations. They can do this, they're wearing the clothes that you can only imagine. But the differentiator between a secure person in this context and a non-secure person is the lack of peace. Because yes, you can have the resources, you can have the titles, you can have the connections, but when you lack peace, that's when you know there's no security there in actual fact. Everything else looks like that, but the lack of peace is what differentiates the secure person from a non-secure person. So that part of the inner peace for me was just like it just cherry on top, but it's part of the deal, because you cannot talk about all of that without that, because the inner peace is basically where you say you understand there's a center and you have to respect the center and keep going back to the center. And then the confidence, competence, and compassion, especially confidence and confidence and competence, it has to do with goals, setting clear goals, and being practical to know that you have to work. Because I think that's where most of us get frustrated on a serious note, because we end up going to ask advice from everywhere else. But when somebody asks, what have you actually done? How much time have you been attempting to master this thing? And you find there was nothing. And funny enough, I don't know if I posted it on Instagram today, that it doesn't mean, basically it doesn't mean when you carry something and it looks like it's easy, it's actually easy. I think something to that effect, because you're talking about self-mastery, basically that. So basically someone can look like what they're doing is so easy, like they were born doing this thing. But if you actually ask them further questions, they'll tell you that they've been practicing for years and years and years. And that's why they can also keep the skill, because they actually did the work. So when you get promoted too hastily or in a wrong way, that's where you lose it, because you never gained it yourself. So it can be taken away from you because you didn't do the work. The compassion part, like you're saying, look, we're still acknowledging the center that God does 95%. He's saying only do 5%, I'll do the rest. And then some of us still fail with 5% by just being more humane, understanding that there's a God in each and every person that is walking in front, across, everywhere, all around you. And God will not literally say, I'm God, I'm here, I want to deliver this thing for you, but he will send someone who has exactly what you need, for that moment, for that occasion. And another thing that I want to say is on my status, on my personal WhatsApp line, my picture, I just changed it last week, is that everyone that you ever meet has something that you need.
100%. I totally
So,
agree.
what is the Victory Valley experience?
Okay. The Victory Valley. Here's what I discovered. You know, for many, many years, I used to always, when I decided I want to achieve this new goal that I had, somehow I got inspired. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I want to accomplish that goal. And so then what I would do is I would go through a certain pattern. Okay. First of all, I'd get excited, right? I'd get excited and I would start my journey. And then all of a sudden, within a couple of days, an obstacle would come in the way, right? That obstacle would come in the way and it would just knock me. And it would knock me into a valley. It was like I was falling deeper and deeper and deeper into this particular valley. And I would always stay in this valley, struggling and fighting, or trying to overcome challenges for a certain period of time. And then eventually what I realized was when I got out of the valley and I actually accomplished my goal, I got out. So what I realized was every time I made a decision to achieve a new goal, I would somehow automatically enter the valley, stay there for a certain period of time. When I get my goal, it would be like I'm out of the valley. So I started to think to myself, okay, if every time that I set a new goal, I keep entering this valley. So the question I had was, how do I prepare myself better for the next time I'm going to enter that valley?
Because you know you're going in. Because you know you're going into the valley.
You know you're going in because you're going to enter the valley every single time, no matter what you do, whenever you try to achieve a new goal. So the question is, there's no point trying to prepare yourself once you're in the valley, because you might be finished then. So prepare yourself before you get into the valley. Now I started noticing, what I did was I had like this weird experience. I literally came out of my body and I would look at myself experiencing all these things as I entered the valley, going through the valley, coming out, and I would make notes on what was happening to me. And then what I started doing was, as I started collecting these notes, that's what allowed me to prepare myself for the next time I entered the valley, right? So here's what I discovered. The first thing is, when I go into that valley, as soon as I make a decision, like I haven't even started trying to do any work, just the moment I make a decision, I'm going to do this. All of a sudden, it's like I open this door in my head and in my mind, and this door opens and all these negative thoughts start coming in saying, that ain't going to work. Who do you think you are? Look at your life. Look at what you did in the past. You failed at this kind of stuff. You're not going to make it. So that's the first thing I realized was every time I made a decision to do something new, those voices are going to come in. So I had that at number one. So I knew it was going to come. And so next time when it came, I just said to myself, okay, so you're in now. I know, I can hear you. I can hear those voices. It's okay. I expected them to come.
Yeah.
The second thing that happened was when I entered the valley, I had to go through these struggles, these unexpected things for a certain period of time. So what I did was I started writing down all the different kind of challenges that I was experiencing and the different things that I needed to overcome these things. And I summarized it into 3 things that you need in order to get through this valley. The first thing you need is you need knowledge.
Okay.
You need to have information on how to do what you're about to do. But even if you have all the knowledge in the world, it's not going to shrink the valley into zero. It's going to give you enough, but you're still going to have to pay the price to get through the rest of that valley. Fine, you know what you're doing. But then you need 2 more other things. You need a very powerful dream. Very powerful. You see, when you're not in the valley, like picture this. Here's your valley, right? And you're here. You're at the top of your valley.
Okay.
And on the other side of the valley is your dream.
Yeah.
You can see your dream. And so with your eyes, you're looking at your dream and you're saying, yeah, that's what I want. That's what I want. But you can't fly. You got to enter the valley and you got to all the way. And then you got to go up. The question is, when you're in the valley, you can't use your eyes anymore to see that dream that you saw. Because you could see it up here, but when you're in the valley and there's this big, huge obstacle in you can't use your eyes to see the dream. Your dream has to be burning in your heart. If it's not burning in your heart, you're not going to have the power to get through this valley. So the number one thing is it burning in your heart? And the way that you can know that if it's burning is you have to answer some questions. When you're struggling, you have to start asking yourself, is this dream worth it? Should I keep fighting? Is this going to make me a better person? Is this going to help my family? Is this going to make a difference to other people? If you can say yes, 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 it'll give you the power to keep going. Because remember, when the crap hits you in the face, you can't see anything. So it has to be in your heart. That's where all the power comes from. So number one, you need a powerful dream when you're in the valley. The second thing you need is so important. You need specific types of attitude. Attitude. Now, when I say specific types of attitude, attitude is like light. There's different types of light. There's different types of light. There's sunlight, there's moonlight, there's flashlight, there's a car light, you know, there's all sorts of different lights. So there's all sorts of attitude. Now, why is attitude like a light? Here's why. Imagine you get up at 3 o'clock in the morning because for some reason you want to get something out of the fridge. You just want to have a drink of milk or whatever. So you come down into the kitchen, you open the fridge, you're about to grab the milk, and all of a sudden the moon is shining through your blinds into your kitchen, and all of a sudden you see something on the floor and you scream, cockroach. You see a cockroach on the floor. And then what you do, your first reaction is you switch on the light. When you switch on the light, you look down, it's not a cockroach, it's a piece of bread. And that's when you have all of it, everything just changed, because what you did was the obstacle that was in your way. All you did was you shined light on it, and it revealed to you what it really was. That's our attitude. When we have the right attitude, we are shining light on our obstacles for them to reveal to us what they really are. And the number one challenge that people have is this. When pain comes into our life, when we're in the valley and we're experiencing extreme pain, extreme challenges, why do those things come into our life? Why does pain and struggle and challenge, why are they coming into our life? If we don't know why pain and challenge comes into our life, we are going to feel like a powerless victim. And we're going to walk around thinking, bad things always happen to me. And it's over. But you have to understand, why do they happen to you? Why is this challenge in your life? If you know why it comes into your life, you get all the power. And there's three reasons. There's three reasons why challenges and pain come into our life. Number one, we did something stupid. We caused consequences. It's like a guy, he's driving his car and the car breaks down. And he says, oh, you know what? My car broke down. God's trying to tell me that I should buy a new car. No, you didn't change the oil. You didn't look after the car. That's why it broke down. And then like, oh, I had a heart attack. God's calling me. No, you had too many hamburgers. You made all the mistakes. You're making mistakes, and pain is coming into your life because you make wrong mistakes. But this is a good thing. When you know it's your fault, you can say to yourself, okay, you know what? I just learned that. I'm not going to do that again. Well, great. So now you've empowered yourself. That's the number one reason why challenges come into our life. Number two. Number two is we didn't do anything wrong. We did not do anything wrong. So why did this challenge come into our life? This is my belief. I believe that many times God is going to put an obstacle in your path on purpose. He's going to put that obstacle in your path for a reason. It's either to protect you or to guide you or to give you some sort of knowledge that you're going to need for the future. And if you don't get that knowledge, you will not be able to accomplish certain goals.
Yeah.
So we think, why would God put that obstacle in my way? That don't make any sense. If he's such a loving God, why would he put an obstacle in my way that's causing me pain? Well, look at it this way. You have this little kid. He's like 3 years old, 4 years old. He's walking on the pavement with his father. His father's holding his hand.
Yeah.
And he says to his father, Dad, let me go. I want to run. I want to be free. And his dad is holding his hand real tight. And the
Yeah.
kid's pulling on him. Dad, let me go. I want to be free. And then the kid starts kicking his father in the shins. Let me go. Let me go. And his father's just tightening the grip. And he's feeling more and more pain. Then all of a sudden, he gives one good kick to the father. The father opens his hands. The kid opens his grip, starts running, turns around, looks at his father and says, I'm free. And then right at that moment, he goes into the road and a car kills him. So what happened?
That's
The
traumatic.
father was protecting him. The father was holding on to him, even though he could feel the pain. The father did not want him to go down that road at this time in his life because he couldn't see what was there, but the father could see it. So he was holding on to him with everything he had to save him, to protect him. So when a challenge comes into our life, we have to think, maybe God is protecting us from something. He's slowing the pace down for a reason. It may not be the right time for me to achieve this. So let me just keep focusing. You know, many years ago, I remember I was so emotional. I was so angry with God. I was praying to him and I said this to him. I says, God, why are you doing this to me? Why are you not allowing me to have the success that I deserve? I have worked so hard for so many years, sacrificed so much. Why are you stopping me from having this success that I deserve? I see other people, they've achieved it. How many years you want me to keep working? Why are you stopping me? And I said this so many times, and then eventually I got my answer. I felt this huge voice in my heart that said this: if you get the success that you think you deserve, all the money that you think you deserve now, you will destroy your family because your heart is not right.
Not
And
ready.
I didn't understand that until years later when I realized if at that time, when I was saying this to him, if I had the financial success that I wished I had, I would have divorced my wife. I would have, because the thing is, we were arguing too much, and it would have been so easy to just say, okay, you know, we got tons of money. You go, I go, and it's over.
Yeah, sure.
And thank God
Sure.
that I heard that voice. I felt it in my heart saying, look, all you got to do is keep working on your heart. Your heart's not right. You need to serve more. You need to sacrifice more. You need to forgive more. You need to love more. Focus on your heart. And then all the things you are desiring, they will come into your life.
Sure.
Now, there's the third reason why challenges and pain come into our life. It's not because we made a mistake. It's not because God put an obstacle in our path.
Yeah.
So what is it? It's some other human being that has caused us great pain because of them. That's why we have the pain in our heart. Now, this is very dangerous because when somebody causes us pain and we identify that they caused it, we could easily act with vengeance and resentment and anger and say, you know what? That person has caused so much pain in my family. I hate that person. You know, and it's like you want to act on them. You want to, you know, make them feel the same pain that you felt. But you got to understand this law, this heavenly law that says this: if you stay true to God's values, God will take all the pain that this person has caused you, and he will use that pain as a condition to bless your life. But if you act against him on purpose to hurt the other person, then God cannot take your pain and use it as a condition to bless your life because you took it in your hands. So what do you do when you feel all this pain? It's tough because how can you forgive somebody when you still feel the pain in your heart? It's so difficult.
Justified.
So what you have to do is you have to get on your knees and you have to say to God, God, this person has caused me so much hate. I forgive him. I'm asking you to bless this person so that when they have the blessings, when they receive the blessings, they will never have the motivation to hurt anybody else again, because that piece is not missing in their life. I want you to bless them. And I want you to take care of whatever consequences they have to suffer. I'm going to leave it in your hands. But as far as I'm concerned, I wipe my hands free of them. I forgive them and I move on with my life. And then you're free. You're free. And if those three things, those are the three reasons why challenges come into our life. If you have that attitude, you will win every single time.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. I feel like I'm attending one of your shows now. I'm like, I'm going to change my life from today. Oh, God. Like I was saying, I mean, you are so captivating with the passion that you use to express what you're saying. I'm like, I don't have anything to say. I must just change my life. So I went to, and I love the, you know, the challenges and the pain thing, because remember, every human being experiences challenges or pain. Everyone. So it depends where you are in terms of spiritual maturity, how you're going to perceive this. But from what you're saying, you sound like somebody who has been through the full cycle. You are pretty much sober. You embrace, you're at a place where you're embracing life as it is. And another, that word practical keeps coming back. So it means you go to a place where you have to say, okay, this is what usually happens, and it keeps happening. So it's not starting with you. It's nothing personal to you. It keeps happening. But the sooner you're spiritually matured and you understand, because God has already predicted all of these things, but we tend to take time to bring it into practicality. But by the time you understand that, look, this pain is not here to break me. There's something in it for me. You always win. Because like you said, the third reason for the challenges or the pain is, it can be a human factor. Meaning you feel justified that this person did this to me. You have the evidence. You've got every reason to hate them, to despise them, to badmouth them, but then you choose to set yourself free. Because I think most of us, we really get stuck on this one. You're still holding on to somebody who broke your heart. You're holding on to the boss who didn't give you the promotion. You're holding on to the friend who gossiped about you. You're holding on to that person who was never able to come back and say thank you for you doing something nice for them. But the minute you realize that, look, there's actually more power when I take my power back to self. That secure person, you take back the power to the center. Because then I don't depend on what they do or what they did to me, because I have all the power within me and I'm enough. I must just go back because I'm human. I feel pain. I'm frustrated. To God and say, give me the strength to accept this, not as defeat, to accept this for my sake, because I know, like you're saying, everything will always work together for good for me. So I want to receive the goodness out of this pain, because this is not to torture me. You did not bring me here to suffer. In just changing that, yeah.
I just want to just throw this in here. When you have pain in your life,
yeah,
sometimes people think that the pain is trying to stop them.
Yeah,
the pain
exactly.
The pain is trying to take you somewhere. It's to take you somewhere that you will not go without that pain.
Yeah.
So important to understand. Because if that pain comes into your life, you will not do what that pain is making you do. And so the thing to understand is, when a lot of people, they try to chase their dreams, they chase their goals, and then pain comes into their life and they think, oh, you know, maybe this is God's trying to tell me not to do this because of the pain. Yeah. The reason why people quit is not because of the pain. The reason why people quit on their dreams is because they have a bad memory. Now, let me explain this to you. People quit because they have a bad memory because of this reason. See, when you make a decision that you want to achieve a dream, you're saying that you want to achieve that dream because there's something missing in your life. there's some sort of pain in your life that you feel that that dream will resolve that pain.
Yeah.
So there's pain in your life already.
Yeah.
So that you think, if I achieve that dream, that pain in my life will go away. But what happens is the pain in your life is causing you to focus on the dream. But the dream is now going to put you in the valley. When you get into the valley, you're going to have more pain, because you're going to have a different kind of pain. The dream in the pain in the valley is called the pain of growth, because you have to grow in order to get out of that valley. But the difference between these two pains is this: the pain of growth in the valley, that's temporary. The pain in your life is permanent until you accomplish your dream. So here's why people quit on their dreams. They start with all the great intentions. I want to accomplish that dream because of the pain in my life. They get into the valley. When they're in the valley, they get the pain of growth, but now they get double the pain of growth and the pain in their life. They forget about the pain in their life, and they only focus on the pain of growth. So they think, if I quit doing this, if I get out of the valley, I won't have this pain anymore. So they do, they quit. They quit only to go right back to the pain in their life.
The pain they know.
Because they forgot that they were in the valley because of that pain. But when you have all this other pain, you don't remember that until you get rid of that. You go back to the front. And then what happens is that pain in your life becomes permanent. But because on top of that pain now, you also have regret and guilt that you gave up, and a feeling of disappointment because you never accomplished your goal. So you have to understand, the pain is trying to take you somewhere. It's not trying to stop you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think just that explanation goes a long way, because some of us tend to be very paranoid. We always put God in the center, and we forget what he says about himself, his being, and who we are to him. So when we face the pain, you might wrongfully think God is trying to say, I must stop. But then we forget about the ego. So the ego is our physical being that is made to protect us. Well, it would look like protection, but the whole idea with the ego is so that we don't demise. So in the perception of the ego is, don't do anything that will compromise you and lead you to death. Because remember, even when you feel pain, you say, okay, I feel pain. After the pain, what is the worst thing that can happen? Or maybe I'll lose this person. Okay, what is the worst thing? But eventually the fear is death. It's physical death. So the pain, the ego will use pain to stop you from taking any risks, because in its perception, the physicalness, in its limitedness, is protecting you. But for you to get to your higher experiences in this world, you'll have to overcome the reality of the ego, the reality of the fear of the ego, the one that tells you, what if you go and this happens to you again? You remember what happened the last time. So it keeps reminding you from the original pain and keeps building up on that. Then eventually you can't do anything. And then you end up saying, oh yeah, probably I shouldn't do it because everybody in my family tried this and they end up dying. Everyone in my family did this and this is what happens. Now you start making this bigger than what it is. But if you can have that level of, like you explained it, that you are here, your dream is there, and you're like, I want to get there, but I need to be practical or knowledgeable enough or prepared and expect that I am going to go through the valley, because you have to go through the valley. The valley basically is that place where you are overcoming your own ego, your ego that wants to limit you in the name of is protecting you. But if you were to listen to your ego the whole time trying to protect you, you'll never do anything. And you feel bad every time when you realize that, I know I want that, but when will I ever get that? That one has that, when will I get it? But you forget you never went through the pain of growth. You were not willing to go through the pain of growth. And then when you're in the valley, and then nature trying to take you through the pain of growth, which is the only way that you overcome the ego so that you can come up and experience the dream, you're not willing to pay the price. So there's an element of knowledge is important, like what you're saying, because when you have knowledge and insight, you expect this thing will happen. So the scientific explanation is that part of the ego, which is the conscious self, which is always trying to protect you. But then there's that deep spirit person that exists, that knows no limit, no fear, that will take you through anything that you have to listen to, all the time, to take you through those valleys. And there's also that element of you that is your subconscious mind, the one that can store pain. So meaning growing up, you experience some trauma while you're young, you carry that with you all the time. And you don't have to think about it because that is already programmed from your childhood, and it keeps popping. So it keeps making you insecure. It keeps making you defensive. It keeps making you to hide. It keeps allowing you to not do anything that you want to do in the name of protection, until you realize that you're always fighting against your subconscious mind. If it was not built for you, you have to keep fighting against it. The conscious mind, which is generally trying to protect you, so to say, so you're always fighting. And if you don't fight, you will never get to the dream. I love how you gave the analogy of, you know, the veil, because it happens every time. Currently, a best example for me with this one, with your valley, is I got to a stage. So since my kids were growing up, I always said, okay, I created routines for them. I have a dream in mind for them. So now they're teenagers. So I'm like, okay, I need to push them a little bit more because they're growing up. These people are going to be adults soon. So I need to make sure that they are ready now to transition into this stage. So I wake them up 4 a.m. in the morning. Mind you, they're teenagers. You can imagine the drama. I wake them up 4 a.m. And so what I do, I play them some affirmations to just make sure that their subconscious programming is positive, remains positive. So I played 15 minutes, 10 minutes before they wake up. Then from there, I wake them up. Guys, get up. And they're like, oh, I'm like, look, you will not win with your mind at this stage. Everything that is going to tell you it's a lie. Just get up, brush your teeth, make up your bed. Let's meet in the gym. We'll talk when you're in the gym. It's not the right time now to negotiate with your mind, because what the ego is saying is, stay in bed. You're safer. It's going to be hard. Why are you waking up now? Why are they making you to suffer? I mean, other kids are not doing it. You can sleep just 1 more minute, just 1 more minute. So now the ego is not telling you that if you keep listening to it, you will never be better, because you're not going through the growth, the pain of growth, because you're just comfortable. You always want to be comfortable. Make sure that all the things that you like are in place. Everything's going the way that you like it, but you don't get better. But every time, every single morning, in this case, when you overcome the ego that says sleep in, and you say, I know what you're saying to me. I can hear you, but I'm going to wake up anyway. I'm not going to reason with you now. I will not win with you now. So I'm just going to walk. Literally, you have to talk to your brain. I'm just going to walk out of bed and go that way. Then we'll talk. And the more you do it, you get to a place where, and then when they're 20 minutes later, and they'll be like, I'm so glad I woke up. Hey, I feel so good. And now they're dancing, you know, they're exercising, because we train. After training, we do gratitude. So they must say what they're grateful for and why. We read the Bible. Then I have what I call the children's oath. It's beautiful. That's my secret. Okay, then they do the children's oath, and then I give them a blessing for the day. Then from there, guys, go make your lunch boxes. Then you take your full shower. Let me tell you, every time they go through this routine, by the time they are done, they are different kids. They feel good. Their mind is clear. They have energy for the day. They enjoy the day. And they always say, you know what, it's always nice when you get to do this. And then almost half the time, I have to keep saying, don't listen to your brain at this stage. You'll not get anything accurate, or at least that will build you up. So I'm just trying to illustrate the issue of, because it will happen, because the reason it happens every time, because like you were saying, you notice that it happens every time you set a goal, is because the ego is always trying to defend that territory for you not to do anything, just to stay there, be complacent and just watch everybody but complain, but you don't have to do the work. So every time you overcome that, you get better, you get closer to the dream. So you put it so well. I love that belly thing. The belly. You put it so well, honestly.
And what along with what you said there, I always used to think,
Yeah.
I know what to do, but how can I get myself to do what I need to do? I was always struggling with that. I know what I'm supposed to be doing, but I just can't get myself to do it.
Yeah.
And I researched into tremendously, a lot of self-reflection, and I realized there were two things going on.
Yeah.
See, inside our bodies, there is fight. The fight is between the body and the mind.
Absolutely.
The mind is actually connected to the conscience, which is connected to God's voice. So that's the mind. The body is connected to the ego. So now what's happening here, the body and the mind, they're both going to fight. Because what happens is the body automatically thinks of only itself. It just wants to have food, sleep, and reproduce. That's all it wants. It wants to chill and relax all the time. That's its goal. It's just what they call, it's just a bag of bones, just looking after itself. Now, other end, you have the mind, and through the conscience, God's telling us, you need to do this. This is the right thing to do. And so now our mind talks to the body and says, okay, body, we need to do this. And the body is saying, hey, don't bother me. We're not going there. And the mind is thinking, no, I need you. I got to accomplish this goal and I can't do it on my own. I need to take my body with me. And the body and the mind, they're fighting. Now, because what's happening is the body is too strong. The mind knows what to do, but it can't get the body to do it. So the only way the mind can get that body to do it is if the mind is more powerful than the body. So now what happens is if we start training our body through prayer, fasting, meditation, and positive books, affirmations. Now what happens is our mind is getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And all of a sudden, everything changes because now the mind says, okay, body, we're going to do this. And the body says, no. And then the mind says, guess what? We're doing this because I'm not going to give you any food until you do this. All of a sudden, the body's like, what? Yes, we're doing it. I'm in charge. And then all of a sudden, when you make your mind stronger and stronger and stronger, now you're able to take that body with you and get yourself to do what you need to do because you know who is in charge. It's not that bag of bones. It's you in the bag of bones.
Terry, I'm telling you, you are such a great narrator. And anyone can understand what you're saying because you just simplified the fight. And after you simplified it, you also gave the solution that, okay, then what are you saying? You're saying the mind needs to be stronger than the body because under general, the body is usually stronger because you can just stay there and say, we're not doing it. We're not giving you resources to do what you want to do until the mind is strong enough to say to the body, no, actually, we're going to deprive you of food. I'm choosing, my self-will says, no more food for you. And the body's like, okay, let's get it done. Like you said. No, I love it. So I think we should close, but we need to have this this again. I really enjoyed talking with you. Honestly, it's beautiful. And the way that you put your stories and you simplify it, and everybody who's watching now and later, they will definitely enjoy listening to this and watching this because you basically discussed all the things that matter to any human being, whether you're an executive or you are a person just living their life, so to say. This applies because we know with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the ego comes in because it's right at the base. It is so entitled to having the security of the food, the shelter, reproduction, so to say. It's so entitled that when you don't have the understanding to know that you can reach the peak, but for you to reach the peak, you have to overcome this body that wants to rule you and limit you to small things that will not allow you to be great until you are willing to punish the body if it's not listening to you. Punish as in deprive the body when it's depriving you of serving you. And then you say, look, I need to get there. So you better cooperate with me because I have a target. So that's where the knowledge comes in, the insight to know that I can actually get there. And I need to be embracing everybody that comes into my life because they are there for a reason. I can get something useful from them. Everybody's valuable.
And you can serve them. So God brings people in so that you can help them as well.
Absolutely. Because it's always a give and take. God is a God of justice. You will not just be people taking from you. There's no way. At some point, He will say, now it's your turn. Sometimes it's also because you're not ready then. Not that you'll never get it. Sometimes we want things prematurely, definitely. And then He's like, no, but you're not ready. I know you want it. You will get it because I said you can get it. But I need you to go through the valley. Because the valley is the place of conquering. The valley is that place where you have to conquer and teach your body to take instructions from you and to follow your lead, not the other way around, because you end up being the slave to your own body and you suffer from addictions because your body is not willing to lack anything that is physical, so to say. But when you teach it that I'm going to deprive you and I'm going to center myself so that you will listen to me more, you tend to gain more and you hear more from that spiritual realm that, you know, okay, this person, this is what they're supposed to do in your life, or this one I don't know, but I can feel I need to talk to this person. I can feel I need to go there. And in the meantime, the practical things that needs to happen for you to get what you want, they must happen, because the fantasy of that we want things, but we're not willing to go through the process it's really a fantasy, but it's affecting so many of us. But when we start embracing the fact that, look, I need to be practical and be the secure person who is confident in the right way, competent, and what is the other one? Let me quickly go there.
Confidence, compassion, and inner peace.
Compassion. I need to be compassionate, and above all, the inner peace, which doesn't just pop in. It's something that you seek. You seek from that inner being, the God in you, and said, I desire this. I deserve this. I accept it. And I will go through the process so that it always, because that inner peace protects you from so many things, because that is what gives you security, because you know your control is not from outside, but it's from inside, so that even when things change around you, you are not worried, but instead you know that everything is working together for me. You always trust that I'm prepared for this moment. So it doesn't matter what is going outside, what is going on outside, because I'm prepared for this moment. That's me in closing. So what are your closing remarks? What are your closing remarks, Terry?
My remarks is this. Anytime you hear somebody say, even a child, I want to learn the violin. I'm going to go to school. I got to do exams. Or I want to learn a new language. I want to start a new business. I want to accomplish this dream. You should always say to them, okay, great. Don't forget, you're going to enter the valley. So when you're there, it'll be fine. Everything you want to do, you have to enter the valley. So get ready. It's coming. And that's when they will be prepared.
Absolutely. Wow, that's amazing. That's a nice closing remark. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
From South Africa is good night. And I guess from your side is good afternoon.
Good
afternoon to you guys.
Thank you so
Please pass our greetings to everyone, your family, your wife, and your 2 kids, I believe. You have 2 boys.
Yes.
Pass our regards to everyone. We'll be in touch. Definitely, we should do this again. We can decide on the topic, but I think we can go anyway.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks everyone for joining in. Bye. All right. I'm closing.